Now that the video you're about to see is graphic and disturbing, and it was meant to be. It is a mock accident staged at Maine Endwell High School by the SADD chapter. Even though everyone knew it was only special makeup, it realistically drove home the point that drinking and driving are a life-threatening combination. Several area law enforcement and emergency squads took part.
I really hope I don't ever have to be in a situation like that.
Has been made
it was very convincing.
I thought it was quite realistic in that it happens all too often.
Organizers hope that this made a life-saving impression on the students in this prom and graduation season.
Has been the case in our own and other neighboring schools throughout the years. What you're about to see is just a very small part of what these good people from our emergency rescue squads face all too often as they arrive again and again at the aftermath of drug and alcohol-related fatalities. Again, your cooperation and remaining relatively still throughout the drill is very much appreciated. At this time, I'd like to introduce from the Maine Fire Department, Mr. David Silverstein, and Mr. Bill Phillips for the New York State Police as our MCs for today's program. Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I've been with the fire department and emergency medical services for 24 years. What you see in front of you did not have to happen. It happened because of one person's decision to get behind the wheel after drinking. The driver of the silver-colored car is Senior Mike Miller. Mike is student council president, executive director of the school paper, and is a member of the football, basketball, and track teams. He's planning on attending Lemoyne College. Until a few minutes ago, Mike was on his way to the senior prom with his date, Emily Rozek. Emily is also a senior here at Maine Endwell. She and Mike are good friends. Emily plans on attending Point Park College in Pittsburgh. She was a second runner-up in the New York State Junior Miss Pageant. In the back seat of their car is Ed Walker and his date, Barbara Smith. Ed is an 18-year-old senior who is president of the symphonic band, plays football and volleyball, and will be attending Alfred University after graduation. Barb, also 18, will be going to Hollins College in Virginia, majoring in religious studies and creative writing. She's editor of the yearbook and is active in the music department. The driver of the red-colored car is 16-year-old junior Matt Abbott. Feeling that the prom wasn't worth the money, Matt and his friends, Lori Ginger, Allison Molaski, and Matt Nachman, have chosen instead to go out to the park, get high, have a few drinks. Matt is student council secretary, president of the boys varsity club, and an all-star in golf and hockey. Lori is 17, a senior, was given the Spartan Spirit Award for her season as a football cheerleader. She will be going to Temple University. Allison, also a 17-year-old senior, was voted most valuable team member for her fall cheering season and is Maine Endwell's homecoming queen for 1994. Matt Nachman is student council vice president and is a member of the varsity soccer, track, and baseball teams. When Matt Abbott and his friends left the park, they were not all drunk. Lori Ginger only had one beer, and she tried her best to take his keys away. But Matt insisted he could still drive fine, and besides, he said, pot makes him concentrate better. The two vehicles crashed head-on Hooper Road. We will now begin with the phone call that sets into motion the all-too-familiar event.
52, you're fine. Watch out for the ambulance, guys.
Outsider is a scene which is very, very well organized.
Oh my God!
We have two operations time.
Get me out of here!
Fire and rescue,
Somebody get me
and
out!
we have emergency medical services. A command post has been established. The emergency medical services personnel sized up the situation and examined all the patients very quickly and have established the extent of injuries and who needs to be taken out of what car first. There are emergency medical personnel that have been assigned to each patient, and further examination of each patient is going on even before they are removed from the car. In the meantime, the extrication part of this procedure is starting. Endwell Fire Department is setting up its hydraulic rescue tool. They have determined very confused and it looks very disorganized. I can assure you, I now want to Trooper Bill Phillips from the New York State Police explain some of the details from the police point of view.
Again, like we first explained to you, it looks like a mass confusion, but it's not. Many times when you come to the scene of one of these, it's absolutely right as what you see as a seasoned police officer. You notice when the first young man got out of the backseat of the car and then turned on a broken scooter, if that's what you would call it, he immediately threw down a bag of green vegetation, which is what we like to say. Interviews with the subjects who were in the vehicle. Try to pinpoint right now, right here, exactly how this accident happened. 2 days, 3 months from now is not the time to find out what the people drank, who was responsible for providing the alcohol. Maybe there's one death, how many injured, how many are maimed for the rest of their life. We try, our police officer's job is to try and find out who was responsible, who criminal actions that will be started. Many times there's hundreds of thousands that way to lawsuit that go along with the naming and the loss of life. You see the troopers over here at the scene, they're taking measurements, they're looking at the scene, they're chalking tires. It's very important to know exactly the position of the vehicles. When all the screaming stops and all the blood has been cleaned up, someone is going to go and who is in fact the one responsible, who is on the wrong side of the road.
You notice that there are no more victims in the work car. All of them were able to get out. There was no extrication needed. The people in the silver car are much more critically injured, and the rescue is proceeding. Again, you see the coordination between the emergency medical services people and the fire department. Their necks are being mobilized to prevent spinal injuries. They are being very, very carefully moved from the wreckage. This is what we call packaging the patient. The fire department is standing by with the dry cloth extinguisher. They have a charge line that is to protect the people working at the accident as well as the victims in the car. You'll notice the fire officer with a vest that says come in. He is in charge of this scene. His decisions are the ones, in this case, removing the roof has given us room to work on both victims and coordinate their removal simultaneously.
Let's get head rolled.
Taper down. Somebody taper down.
Second victim is also down there. Will be strapped down to the backboard. At this point, all patients from this accident have been extricated. It's been 20 minutes since the call came in, so we're well within the golden hour. This accident investigation is far from over. The suffering and the trauma that these victims suffered is also far from over. The fire department, in its extrication, has tried not to touch or remove any part of the car that wasn't absolutely necessary. The only thing we bother with are parts that we need to remove to get the patient out. Every piece of the car and all of the debris around it can be used as evidence.
I would just like to interject something here from a state trooper's viewpoint and for the sheriff's department. Whenever you go to an accident scene, it's always a very traumatic situation. You'll see loved ones there, friends. Stay away from the accident scene the best you can. Yes, your help might be necessary, but for the most part, You see here a parking lot full of many dedicated volunteers. These firemen are members of your community. For the most part, they do not get paid. They spend weekends, holidays, and training, hours and hours of training. They have to be allowed to do their job. They have saved more lives in this area than you will ever know because of their dedication. When you roar to an accident scene because you heard somebody was injured, you can only interfere. If you do get to an accident scene, yes, we want witnesses. If you saw or heard something, wait for the state troopers or the sheriff's deputies will come up and ask if they need any information from you. Stay away from the accident scene. Let the emergency personnel do their job. If you don't, you can interfere with them to the point that somebody get hurt. You're looking at people here, all sexes, all ages, a very dedicated group of people, and you should figure out a way at some time to say thank you. They have really saved an awful lot of lives. You'll see now around the back of the red car, Tim Thompson, he is taking pictures. He is taking not only pictures of vehicle, he is taking pictures of any physical evidence that he finds at the scene later for the criminal investigation that you see at the accident scene. Many times the cars are torn apart. When we first get there, we make visual estimations of what has taken place. Then the camera will back up for a later time in court. If you watch the O.J. Simpson trial, you'll see what evidence means. We hopefully will never get as lengthy as that here, but our pictures and measurements, we fix objects, we measure every car. This is something that need to be done later on as to the verification. Why is the body X amount of distance from the car? Was it thrown from the vehicle? Does it meet the description of the people in the vehicle as to how the accident happened? This will all be done later on with pictures and drawings and expert testimony. Meanwhile, the Sheriff's Department are still conducting interviews with one of the drivers of the vehicle. The emergency personnel are now clearing out somewhat. They'll be fixing and picking up their equipment, and then the police officers will continue their investigation.
We're going to give you another idea of what a radio transmission sounds like once the determination has been made in a much more exact way about patient injuries. And we would constantly update all of our victims between the time they leave the accident scene and the time they arrive at the hospital.
Very shocking. High flow. Getting under radar, 204 lines of blanket rares. Jet man hands applied. Following vital signs, best we can tell, blood pressure on 90 over 60. 120. Sinus tach and monitor, no to be noted. Respirations, about 24 to 26. We are assisting respirations with a bag valve mask at this time. Best we can tell, possible and copy good. You can get your facility, it's going to be about 10 minutes or so. Okay, so name of your patient intubated. At this time, we're in the process of it.
That's right. You know what this is, right?
Marijuana. Smoke pot. Yeah, a little bit.
Driver also smoking today?
A little bit.
But how much is a little bit?
Yeah, about that.
You know that you're not supposed to have this, right? Where'd you get it from? You got it from a brand name. This is got it.
Joe Stevens.
Joe knows he's not supposed to be selling this to you. You know you're not supposed to have it, right? Okay, listen. You're being placed under arrest for possession of marijuana and unlawful possession of marijuana, okay? So what I want you to do is right now, put your hands in your head and turn around. Okay, you're under arrest right now. We're going to take you down to the station. Turn around facing me, okay? Just keep cooperating with me, and we'll see what you get home today, okay? If you do the right thing, we'll do the right thing to you, but it's very important that you cooperate, okay? We'll put you in the back seat of the car in the next station.
Now that the criminal arrest is made, and time-wise, you just do what you have to do in whatever order. And also the Boone County Sheriff's deputies who are going to be in charge of the accident investigation and making the DWI arrest. They also observe certain things that the officer now will explain to you.
In the car here, sir? Why don't you turn right around here? You're the one driving the car? This red car over here? Are you injured at all? Do you have any medical disabilities, back injuries, or knee injuries, or anything like that? Are you ill at all? You don't have any hearing problems? You don't have any, you're not an epileptic or a diabetic? Do you have your driver's license with you? Could I see that? Sorry. I want to take it right out of there. Matthew's your first name? Yeah. Okay, Matthew. What we're going to do is a field sobriety test to determine your level of intoxication here. The tests are very simple. I'm going to show you how to do the test. I'll give you an opportunity to ask me any questions before you perform the test, but don't perform any part of the test until I have instructed you to start. Do you understand? You know the letters of the alphabet? Okay. Can you recite the letters of the alphabet for me, starting with the letter D and ending with the letter X?
D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, X.
Okay. It's not bad. It's not bad. Okay, Matthew, I want you to recite the letters of the alphabet. You what?
Really scared.
Really scared? Okay, there isn't any reason for you to be scared. I'm here to help you. Okay? Just cooperate with me and I'll do the best I can to help you out. I want you to recite the letters of the alphabet again for me, starting with the letter D and ending at the letter X. Can you do that?
D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X.
Okay. Okay, what I'd like you to do this time is put your heels and toes together just like mine are. See how that is? Okay. I want you to just leave your arms down to the side just like they are. Tilt your head all the way back and close your eyes and just stand there. Okay, why don't you try that again? Tilt your head back slow this time. Okay, that's good. Look forward. Okay, just stand in the same position that you're in right now, except this time I want you to have your arms extended out with your pointer finger extended, okay? Both arms are going to be extended out. Okay, don't do this test until I've instructed you to start. What I want you to do is take your fingertip and touch the tip of your nose. I want to point out to you, this is the tip of your finger, this is the tip of your nose. This is what I expect you to see out of it. I don't want to see you this, or on the top of your lip, or up here by your eyes. It's right on the tip of your nose. Okay, Matthew, I want you to tip your head all the way back as far as you can and close your eyes. Take your right fingertip and touch the tip of your nose. Okay, put it back. Take your left fingertip and touch the tip of your nose. Put that back. Again with your right. Okay, put it back. And now again with your left. Okay, look forward. How you feeling? Okay. This time I want you to take whichever foot you feel more comfortable with, and I want you to raise it about 4 inches off of the ground like this, and I want you to stare at your toe and count from the number 69 backwards. Can you do that? Do the best you can.
69, 68, 67, 66, 65, 64.
Okay, that's good. Stop right here. Okay, we have one final test that I want you to perform. Actually, 2 final tests I want you to perform. This is going to be watching the straight line. Probably seen this done on television before. What I want you to do is heel to toe, 9 steps forward. Just walk 9 steps forward, turn around and walk 9 steps back. I'll show you how I want you to do that. 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to 9. Don't do this until I've asked you to start. Walk 9 steps forward, count down, 9 steps backwards, count down. Okay? Go ahead. As you walk forward, take baby steps around, and come back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, good. Turn around and face me. Okay, one last test I'd like you to perform is I'd like you to take both your thumbs and put them right out in front of you, just like this. Now all I want you to do is turn around, and what I want you to do is bend over and put your thumbs just like that, straight up behind you, just like that. Matthew, based on the results of this field sobriety test, it was placed on your arrest order for DWI, driving while unconscious. Okay, understand that?
As we discuss this matter with you, you have the right to stop answering my questions anytime you desire. Do you understand that? The right to talk to a lawyer before speaking to me, the right to remain silent until you can talk to him, and the right to have that lawyer present during questions. Do you understand that? Desire a lawyer, but cannot afford one. One will be provided to you without cost. Do you understand that? These are your rights that I prescribe to you, you understand. Is that correct? Now that I've provided you with your rights, are you willing to answer our questions about this DWI?
Yes, sir.
Go back to the station.
Fine. Have it pulled straight down. The county number transfer 1192 arrest, please.
As you all know, we have a fatality here. This is Coroner John Kendall, who for many years has had the dubious honor of coming to these action scenes all over this county. It is a difficult job. Medical personnel at the scene have already stated that the subject is deceased. But it is his job to come and check injuries, to check the body. For at a later time, he will have to be the one that certifies the cause of death. And many times we have the coroners come right to the scene. He will check over the body completely. Obviously, this is an accident scene. Many times we have situations where there might be some other type of injury that caused the death. And right now is the time to be able to determine exactly where those injuries are coming from. Coroner Prindle will check with emergency people at the scene, the police officers. He'll verify possibly the condition of the vehicle. He'll use all the information available to him to actually certify the cause of death for any pending later lawsuits. He'll check over the vehicles to see where the position was. He'll note whatever was maybe the cause of the injury, whether it's a head trauma you saw before, his intestines were injured severely. He'll look for what caused that to make sure at a later time, possibly at a trial, he'll have to give his information regarding the certificate of death. Once he is clear, he will notify the responding funeral home. In this case, it is Jack Cleary from Allen Memorial Funeral Home. They are usually called to the scene by the coroner or the police officer at the scene. Again, one of the most difficult jobs. Sometimes when these gentlemen pull up, it's in fact someone that they know. As you have seen by the police department, the sheriff's deputies, the state police, the job still has to be done. But it is a very, very difficult one. The cars will change. The type of beer that has been drunk that will change. The state troopers' faces will change. And the sheriff's deputies' faces will change. The witnesses will change. But it's unfortunate that this will never change. That there is always, in a situation like this, someone will never have a chance to go on. A young life that was ended for no reason that I can look at. And we hope that you don't ever look at a reason why this should be accepted. So many simple things can be done. If you don't agree with everything you've seen here, we call it a reenactment. Wear your seatbelts. If you think you can drink, you're underage, you're wrong. But if you're going to wear your seatbelts, talk to the drivers, take their keys away, do whatever you feel has to be done. Heroes are right today, not tomorrow, not after an accident like this takes place. Anything you can do has got to be enough to maybe save a life. The emergency technicians you have seen have done the best they can. The coroners can only do so much. The state troopers, there's not enough sheriff's deputies to go around. We can't be everywhere. You can be. You're at the drinking spots. You're outside the football games. You're the ones that have the conscience. Do whatever you have to do. If it simply means forcing everybody in your car to wear their seatbelts, do what you have to do to make the difference to save a life. Later on, all the facts will show why this young man is dead. His parents will have to be told. His friends and relatives, many of you children right here, will go on without him. That loving smile, that giggle, that nothing you used to always call a friend. It's too late for him. Somewhere a mistake was made. Don't you be the next person that won't be at the next reenactment because something like this happened to you. Whenever you go to an accident scene, whenever you're on your way home, and you see a car against a tree or flipped over, you hear a smash outside your house, do us a favor and go outside if you can and find out exactly what's going on. When you call 911 to report a terrible, fatal accident or just a fender bender, know exactly what you're talking about. Say there's 2, 3, 4 people severely hurt. Don't just look out your window and say, I think there's an accident. This, in fact, could save a life because every time an emergency call comes out, if we don't have the exact information, we send 2 state troopers, 3 sheriff's deputies, 2 ambulances. Always know what you're talking about. If somebody yells into your house, there's something terrible out here, terrible, go out and find out how terrible it is. It's not pretty to look at. The screams, as you heard today, were as real as they get until you're there at the scene. But help us out, help all the police officers out in this area and the system know exactly what is happening out there so you can report it, so we can get the help that's needed.
At this particular point, Mr. Perricone will be addressing you for a few moments. Annie?
Okay, on the way over here, I was wondering why I'm coming over here to talk to you guys. The reason is I'm going to share a painful story, so I'm trying to respect me. It's not something I want to do, but I feel that if half of you, a handful of you, hear my stories and hear my pain, that you may think twice about sitting behind the wheel after you've had something to drink or if you've taken drugs. Now I look out in the audience and I know that all of you are under 21. State law says you can't drink if you're under 21. Well, if I felt that everyone here didn't drink, then I wouldn't even bother to come here. All right, let me go ahead and get started. We don't have a lot of time. In August of 1991, August 10th to be exact, I was scheduled to graduate from Clemson University in South Carolina. And I did graduate. But about a month before that, the morning of July 8th, 1991, I received a phone call very early in the morning. Now, if any of you have friends or brothers or sisters who go to college. You get phone calls in the middle of the night. You don't get phone calls early in the morning. Everybody's sleeping then. So I knew something was wrong. With my brother Steve, he was calling from Alabama where he lived, and he told me that there had been an accident. And then paused, and my heart began to race because, I thought, oh no, something happened to my mother, something happened to my grandmother. As he continued, he told me that there had been an accident, and that my brother Mark was killed. I threw the phone across the floor and started screaming because my brother Mark was 25. He wasn't supposed to die. Fortunately, my roommate came running into the room and she picked up the phone. And after what seemed an eternity, she hung up and she came over to me and I was crying. I said to her, why? Well, the why she couldn't answer, but the what she knew. Well, my brother Mark was taking his usual Sunday afternoon bike ride. He was hit from behind by a drunk driver. Mark was thrown up on the top of the truck and then thrown into a ditch, left there to die. The driver kept on going. Fortunately, he was apprehended down the road when he pulled off to get out in someone's yard and go to the bathroom. He knew he'd hit something, but he wasn't sure, but he kept going. And that doesn't make me feel well to know that my brother's life was worthless. It didn't mean that much to this guy. From the time I found out to up to the days of the funeral were the worst days of my life. Losing my brother Mark at the age of 25 was 100 times worse than losing my father at the age of 13. Mark was so young. He was at the peak of his life. He just opened a business 11 months prior to this. And his life was snuffed out just like that. Just because a man made a choice, a bad choice, to get behind the wheel after he was drinking. My brother didn't have a choice in this case. That choice was made for him by an irresponsible man. The pain that I still live with of the memories of the accident is awful. I mean, the thought that going to the accident scene when I got back home with my brothers and having the woman who lived next door who came out and witnessed the accident described to me what my brother looked like. His neck was broken, his head was swollen. She wasn't sure if he was living or if he's still alive, if he's still breathing. I only hoped that he died instantly. The memory of my mother having to go to the hospital to identify her dead son. The memory of my sister-in-law running around the hospital screaming. We never had any children. Just the memory of the funeral itself and all the people that came. Mark had a business, and the people across from the bank, the little children that came to the funeral, they were all crying. It was just too much to bear. And even the memories, things I have to live with today every time I see someone riding a bicycle, imagining that that could be my brother. Or having to drive home and see his business that's no longer. Even I work over by the cemetery, and I have to drive by. I drive by the accident scene. My other brother lives over there. The memory of my brother is not going to die, and that's another reason why I'm here. It's not something we forget. He was real. I look out and I see you guys, you're all young, you discussed that you're all under 21. You have your whole life ahead of you. And when I was your age, I thought I was, invincible. I ranked right up there with God. Nothing could happen to me. I couldn't get hurt. But you're wrong. You just witnessed something here today that's very real. And it can happen, and it can happen to you. I'm not here to scold you, but I am aware that there are some of you who drink. I'm not condoning it. It's wrong. There's more problems it creates than the pleasure you may get out of it. But when I look at you guys, issues come to mind: alcohol and the choices regarding alcohol. I work with people who talk about, their hangovers and, how much they drank that weekend. And some of them have said to me since they've known me that they don't drink and drive anymore. Well, I'm glad for that. But one woman comes to mind. She stopped driving after she found out about my brother. She was still drinking. She just switched to a different mode of transportation, a moped. But guess what? She's dead. She ran into some cars about a year back. I really feel bad for her family. I mentioned before, I talked about the accident and the scene when my brother died. But it's not an accident. It goes back to choices. These are choices you guys make. Choices that are going to affect not only you, but people you don't know of. Yeah, you may kill yourself in a drunk driving accident. And I feel bad, and I feel bad for your family. But you may affect people you don't even know. It's not worth it. I'm here to tell you that. The guy who's in jail because he hit my brother, it's not worth it. You know, I know that he regrets punching his brother to get the keys because he knew. His brother knew the dangers of drinking and driving. Unfortunately, he didn't. I just hope that from hearing my story, maybe you know people that this is affected. You'll think twice. You'll think about the choices that you make in your life that are going to have an impact. You may say, oh, I can't tell my parents. You know, they wouldn't like it if I was drinking. Well, you know what? They'd be a lot happier going to pick you up than having to go to the hospital and identify your body. It is real. And it's something you guys are going to have to think about. And I just hope that if you do drink, if you do take drugs, please don't drive.
Or makeup and accident design. Thank you to all members of the following EMS agencies who participated: the Union Volunteer Emergency Squad, Vestal Volunteer Emergency Squad, Broome Volunteer Emergency Squad, Superior Ambulance, Campville Emergency Squad, the Maine Emergency Squad, Mr. Brett Chellis and staff from the Broome County Emergency Services 911 Center, Sheriff D'Angelo, Captain Walikas, and all members of the Broome County Sheriff's Department, Sergeant Chatera and all members of the New York State Police, Fire Chief Luca Forio and the entire Endwell Fire Department, our MCs today, Mr. Dave Silverstein from the Maine Fire Department and Trooper Bill Phillips from the New York State Police, Broome County Coroner Dr. John Pindle, Allen's Funeral Home, Mr. Alan Davies from Allen's Towing for the cars used in today's assembly and for the cars provided for our rehearsals, Mr. Paul Brunner and the Maine Endwell custodial staff, and Mr. Scott Selby for our sound system. Thank you to the entire Maine Endwell staff sector for all their hard work behind the scenes. And a very, very special thank you to our superintendent, Mr. Dennis Ford, to our principal, Mr. Keith Matthews, assistant principal, Mr. Jim Myers, our faculty, and the entire Maine Endwell School System Administration team. At this time, I'd like to introduce your fellow students who not only performed in today's program, but who also put in months of training to prepare for their roles. In alphabetical order, Mr. Matt Abbott, Miss Lori Jindra, Miss Allison Molaski, Mr. Mike Miller, Mr. Matt Nachman, Miss Emily Rozak, Miss Barbara Smith, Mr. Ed Walker, and our standby understudies who attended all the meetings and received the same training, Mr. Mike Markovich and Miss Sarah Voss, and our scriptwriter, Miss Miranda Buck. Will you please help me thank all of these people for their outstanding contributions. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your cooperation today. You were a wonderful audience, and on behalf of the Maine Endwell School System and your friends and staff, we wish you all a safe prom and graduation season and a long and healthy life. And I thank you very much today. Thank you. Here's Mr. Myers.
Thank you for your attention. Hopefully we've all learned something and will benefit from this. And special thanks to Mr. Farracone. He forgot to thank himself for all the time and efforts he's put into this. We certainly thank him. When you go back in, please stay in line and go that way. You will be going to your 4th period class. Report to your 4th period class.
Nice.
Students at Maine Endwell School got a good look at what a car accident can do. The Students Against Drunk Driving chapter staged a mock accident, but the lesson is real. Drinking and driving can be deadly. SAD hopes that by staging accidents like this one, students will think twice about drinking and driving at any time, but especially on prom and graduation nights.
Already know the dangers of drinking and driving. Still, we think it'll never happen to us. That's exactly why Students Against Drunk Driving chapter at Maine Endwell High School staged this mock accident involving classmates. For the upcoming prom season, the very real display, including death, injuries, and even arrests. Both the victims and perpetrator say the exercise was valuable.
Just show them that what can really happen to them if they don't use good judgment. I don't think we're trying to shock them. We're just showing them what can happen if they use bad judgment.
You know, don't get behind the wheel if you've been drinking. I mean, call a cab or, you know, have one of your friends who doesn't drink drive, because it's just stupid, and, you know, it could result in a fatality like it did this morning.
The Union Volunteer Emergency Squad also helped in today's mock accident. It's been a
Now that the video you're about to see is graphic and disturbing, and it was meant to be. It is a mock accident staged at Maine Endwell High School by the SADD chapter. Even though everyone knew it was only special makeup, it realistically drove home the point that drinking and driving are a life-threatening combination. Several area law enforcement and emergency squads took part.
I really hope I don't ever have to be in a situation like that. It was very, very convincing.
I thought it was quite realistic in that it happens all too often.
Organizers hope that this made a life-saving impression on the students in this prom and graduation season. 6 people in one car were sent to the hospital after a 2-car crash on Route 17C tonight. It happened around 8 o'clock. Apparently, this Dalmatian dog was in the back seat of a Ford Escort when it decided to jump into the front seat. This startled the driver, Pamela Robinson of Binghamton, who swerved into this Cadillac driven by Edward Gavin of Endwell. Gavin's car hit the guardrail, lost a tire, and came to rest on the shoulder of the road. Gavin and 5 family members sustained neck and back injuries, although none was considered life-threatening. Robinson and a passenger were not hurt. She was ticketed, though, for an unsafe lane change. A confused tour.
Educational programs about the dangers of drinking and driving will get the message across to teenagers. All this week, we focused on teens drinking in the Twin Tiers. Tonight, we meet students who witness the damage drinking can cause. Local teen Katie Zur joins us in our newsroom with her report. Katie?
Thanks, Allison. When teens celebrate with alcohol, they place themselves in danger. However, when they get behind the wheel, they put our entire community at risk. Students Against Drunk Driving is trying to make sure that their peers know how serious the consequences are. What would it take to convince you of the dangers of drinking and driving? Students at Maine Endwell High School saw firsthand what can happen when people try to drive under the influence. This is a mock accident sponsored by the school's SAD chapter. Here, 2 couples on the way to the prom were struck by some fellow students who decided to drink and smoke pot instead of attending the prom. The casualties of this accident are not real, but the message is.
So we're just trying to make aware to kids the dangers of drinking and driving, and that it can happen to you. You're not invincible.
We're trying to just get all the seniors and juniors that might be going to the prom this June, or, you know, might have already went. I hope they use responsibility and, you know, don't get behind the wheel if you've been drinking. I mean, call a cab or, you know, have one of your friends who doesn't drink drive, because it's just stupid, and, you know, it could result in a fatality like it did this morning.
The accident seemed to make a real impression on everyone involved.
I thought this looked really real, and it was real hard to see my classmates in the cars screaming like that.
Well, it's kind of hard to imagine that it could happen to them. You don't really think about that, but it could happen to anybody.
The message is, student to student, don't drink and drive. SAD members hope it's a lesson these teens won't have to learn the hard way. Now, we've talked to teens who say, yes, they have friends who drink, but when it comes to drinking and driving, teens are more responsible. They're using designated drivers or calling cabs to get home. Tomorrow, we'll introduce you to some teens who don't have to worry about this because they don't drink at all. Allison?
All right, thank you, Kate.